All send out one time so that you can scale him this is a matter of public importance. Now give him talk. Long this talk, nothing to make him up him. But I recorded inside long answered. Now government will explain country, headed by the Prime Minister, Honorable James Marabe. All by look long him. Now when him walk, all by give him. Long give him walk, give him kaka this resolution, when him to talk him, make him, when him think you may pass him long today. Mr. Speaker, Acting Speaker, me kirablo make him talk, long talk pisin. Talk pisin because plenty of you mean on this country. You know, I said before plenty man English to me good, all white man teach me English. Plenty of me go school on English. You may travel on English good. You may give him speech good, now write him good English. But today now qualitative English I'm good out. Now all now go on talk pisin. Also now this is talk pisin and talk let's play me now on country. Also now by me giving speech on talk pisin. Now behind through before me finish him up by me making talk English. Because talk pisin is our lost long vocabulary. Some of the talk and you know stop good, but you know stop the talk pisin. But stop good to talk English. Also about me making more sense. Mr. Deputy Speaker, Mr. Acting Speaker, me crab on this time, long address him issue long loneliness, long place play you me, and I will walk on the manda, now place play you me, long Wabek, now long Enga province. Mr. Deputy Speaker, me like him you mean on this point in time, thinking of him you me country. Must he meet you belong about, you think you belong Samarai, you think you belong Finsapen, you think you belong you long Yanguram, you think you belong you long Wanimo, you think you belong Manus, you think you belong Daru, you think you belong you long Orokaiwa. When you have you do thinking, you count on this hard. That's all this time is Acting Speaker, me like him you me thinking or some country. This is not country. Now bell when me pull up and cry, now me going to talk. Bell when me pull up and cry, now me going to talk. Because from the time a young boy, in 1975, me started grade 7. Country Hamamas looks independent. Me little boy through, me walk long distance, long go celebrate him independence. Long distance, bell when pull up through long country, me play country, me play money more stable Australia, me play come out country. Now you can see me play now over the man of place now over the heart. Long Papua New Guinea, you may stand up and talk by mixing country. Now you mix some country. You mix some country, 1975. Somebody man Pacific and lead him you me, long sim independence. But then stand up long country, and me making talk country. I mean been making talk Pacific. No, Mr. Acting Speaker, I mean talk country. Now I mean unite him you me country. Now you make some country. On 16 September 1975. Mr. Acting Speaker, you may have been thinking of him. Maybe also by come up behind time. Now you're not going to face him, yeah? There's a time law in order, I mean, one issue in this country. I mean, issue in this country. You walk over anywhere. Time you come to school in 1979, long University of Papua New Guinea, we can walk about. Honorable Peter O'Neill, we can witness me on talk. Because Mr. One time, I mean, legally brought up me this time. People school university, people can walk about all the way. Go to Babukuri, I know Babukuri. What you going to Tatanana, Baronina, this lab me come up the town. No one will Papa him holding me plan on road. Over the Papa to Baba and Mina, making plan on soon and blow over the slab. Now we blow over the come on Borokon. No one will be a man by come holding you. No idea, and blow about free. All Kaiduku, all come sing, sensible all the cooking market. All since in a cooking market, all since put in table Kanga, no local sing stabline. Me plan man looking at me, Placam looking at I was looking all. People who simply they come in all since Kaiduku sing, plus I am not looking all. Doesn't matter where you came from. But me plan or Mandla Papua. All making it. And one kind of some Medan. One kind of some Pacific. Me go rebel. Rebel in 1981, Mr. Acting Speaker. Me go rebel in 1981 time close to me finished law school. All the men will start a rebel time like you know Kokopo. Now you go on job long to Maringa. We go on job to Wokabody Gosem. All the men are road Tataya, Tata. Mr. Acting Speaker. All Tataya. All the family you want to man you come to say you don't know road here. All the man Tata. So you. Now you feel him you start a place for you know Simbu when him up. You was stop. That was a peaceful place, Mr. Acting Speaker. Very peaceful place, this country. Lay to you about the Simbu kind of place, a place what you come lay, only looking trouble Malmal Duaya, all kind of Lucita, thousand trousers, the one kind of slip nothing out from Mari, all slip nothing. No, no, worry, no one something but I take him all. No idea, all slip nothing. The people looking on Simbu and plan muscle looking on Simbu. People look on muscle looking Hagen all come. Ah, we love each other. We love each other. That time we love each other. Time in Royal Mirano, Papua. No, 1985, we go around on Papua, go Daru, you go defend man on Daru. You go to Barrymore, you go on Kiunga, you go on Patabu, you go. Oh, the man on muscle looking here. Hold on, muscle me. You don't have to worry. You run nothing. You run nothing there. I'm muscling, I can't give you nothing, I can't get nothing. We don't need money at that time. Life was very peaceful. Very peaceful. How comes, 1975 kind of now, too many killings. Too many killings taking place everywhere. What happened to Pinsapen or cutting man, or cutting policeman one time uniform, Mr. Acting Speaker, or cutting policeman one time uniform. You know, so shopping made blowing and losing stuff. No, shopping made blowing police the behind Ken. No respect the police now, uniform, policeman. All no care on this flower. Cut him in one time uniform. Cut him into pieces. Or call him, tend to a meat. Or call him also no cut him. It's even enough it's happened. You know, come up to island statue. In heaven of Siano. In heaven of it's happened. Right in the bush there. It happened. Money will happen. And come up to town, believe me, people town will must be here. And it happened. Now, worst of all, Mr. Prime Minister Guplaman. Policeman knows I go past along. Policeman knows I go past along. And more money knows I go past along here. Then police have come inside. Doesn't Mr. Acting Speaker? Policeman go past along here. Policeman was supposed to look at him, that man. Or look at supposed to look down him, all trouble man. All look at now only go past. Now only go past. And this one of people something. People worry through, it's in me. Or Tari, old man will walk forcefully to the country. Or walk one thing, line will meet Sao all. Tari walk forcefully to the country. Or come walk on Kairuku, no rubber plantation. Or go walk on Rabal, the people join him all, line will to join him all and play walk on Rabal. No plantation me player. When the Rabal only don't walk in, sorry, Rabal, you're not going to correspond to me. And something, people Murbea, people labor man. Police for country. One time, Tari, we play labor money. Maybe labor money in Pro here. Good on a book and bill walk, came here. Place for Julius send me Pro walk here. Maybe you go to one for trouble and one for man on the slab. No idea. Or what man talk to me Pro walk here. Now come back safe for a place for him. Come back safe there. We were as a nation, me play talk us, me play country. You come away with us and me play country. Mr. Acting Speaker. Now today, you may listen to things you may country. You may one man, one people, country. You may listen to this here. When is something come inside the head, you may listen to something. When is something come inside? Mr. Acting Speaker. You may not have it also. Can something come inside? Speaker, you will going to stop the year. Only keep in pipe the machine here. What the governor come to us? Hi, governor knows someone something there. That's all keep in pipe the machine here. When they get something, will keep in pipe here. Everywhere. All over crafting pipe. Also now, big blood true. Or crafting pipe, no killing mad, no last magnitude, biggest magnitude. And come up long, Wapan Amanda. Border will Wapan Amanda na Wabek. Minus how we good on this plot, so the member for Wapan Amanda, Bertablomi, or writing newspaper, writing Wapan Amanda, or call him name, or send me call him Wapan Amanda. That's a true, and Wapan Amanda na Wabek na Ushad Arapla. Mino clear. But, Mr. Acting Speaker, in your first time, I'm come up with this lab. And second time, the third time, come up with this lab here. People Lutheran man, people carry good news, you're going to Wapan Amanda. Or tomorrow, we carry good news, you're going to Wapan Amanda. Or Lutheran, or carry going to Wapan Amanda. Start with Wapan Amanda, and Turkey, you're going to walk it up, or Wabek, you're going to when I'm a Kobiam now, Ablon is when I'm a Enga province you played Sawe. And Karim on this flahab. We did a good job there. People bring Bible and people bring good news. You going to come up with this little place named and Wapanamanda, no place Yaramanda. People Karim talk good news. You go Yaramanda. People Karim good news. You go. I know never man Karim good news. You Lutheran Catholic Karim come. Emol Catholic. 7 days Karim come. Emol 7 days. That's some people Lutheran. People Karim go put him on Yaramanda, on Wapanamanda. Long today, people Karim was 6 people man over. Dialogue this lahab. And people want to come to people long, all things you look at the Morobe. People are coming good news, people will come up good plan and make him no. Then big flop, only killing number of people and winning one islands only killing them. Now, why are you killing people on this point? Why are you killing people, Mr. Acting Speaker? Now, I still killing 60 people man, member of Murbaya, long Kaman Kokos and Tongino 60 people man. Planning and talk. Sampla kisim bunara na igoya o kisim gan na igoya igo dalo wara na wara kanimem go em go toilet na dai na stop ho em go one map em tok so number long man dai no em 60 Mr. Acting Speaker number man in dai or meri in dai or pingin in dai em more than this number post kore right him law Mr. Acting Speaker, and this is a very serious matter now. You know, every honorable Sir Peter Butter, Sir Peter Ipatas. You know, every long so. You know, every long honorable Miki Kaya. Every long so. And every long Dr. Lino Tasso. We know Wabe. And every long this country. Every long this country. No country must have been since slavery. Country must come. Country no let him talk. You know this kind. Action is what we need. Action you need in long end. So the country can address this problem. Country, as a country, we think as a country. Forget about you Sipigna, forget about you Morobina, forget about you when I'm half. Again, forget about you Tolaimana, forget about Daruna, forget about anything. You think only you Papua New Guinea. You talk about Papua New Guinea, that's all. Now you say, time you meeting in Papua New Guinea, but you come up with them sample solution plan. Also today me appeal on honorable members. You play by talk. Now me open door you play talk like play but speak by controlling. You play talk like play. Obviously the government you play talk. Me open door. You play talk. When I'm road by me come up long now addressing this play heavy because that is the prevalent problem affecting the majority of the people of this land. You don't talk about investment. You don't talk about millions and billions. Long against no one kind you want to talk. That's the time heavy stuff on ground. Heavy stuff on life of people. And you want to talk nothing. Talk nothing. Well, something in and come up and you want to talk nothing. You can see feelings slow and I'm not to talk to you. That's what people need in action here. This election did not come up. Mr. Acting Speaker, and I want us to think as a nation. My heart cries for my country. Time Australia can't take over this country. Hennes Corporation, how the man prayed and me go fighter. Maybe the more don't know we go, yeah? Now me come back. Thank you, Lord, more big in power, me come back. Now you will fight long interest for country. All Ella, Prime Minister, time all Ella, all Mathiavi Yui, Honorable the Mathiavi Yui, say Mathiavi Yui. Andrew Waria, over the land will come fight long, province long all. And he went through the death years, Mr. Prime Minister. Consecutive Prime Minister will come, will not him. Now, Prime Minister, you don't remember this time yet. Now, me, big probably, me been member. Now, me fight long, now motion also, me fight. Now, election province. You know, man. Me think was a country. Me more man, but me fight no country. Now, election province. Don't tell me I've been all out man, all no been fight. In actual fact, me been fight one time as Yawari, the late Ami Yawari. How about hell man by fight one time? Oh, sorry, South Knowledge for fight one time. That's me fight one time because good people country, me fight one time. Now we want it. You Jehovah, you come nothing. Juga you know fight with you. Fight in Bula. Na mi man join fight no simpunaro ne go fight ya. Na mi ya. Mi na pin name mita so God sawi ka record long court. Mi fight ya. Na ela pan province ya. Ai you black sim DSIP na PSIP na you think idea beli pla. Mi fight one time Somali long buna pope one place from Tolai all call him buna pope. Mi fight one time no buna pope ya. Over the man Silly only man established district. Already established district. Population established district. Huh? Member will represent in district, yeah. All kind of 20,000 population, plenty heavy established district. You mean by putting 20 million me talking Somali. No, Buna Pope, one place will call him Buna Pope. The place for Tolai. Now, 78 members already of forming government. Only talk, yes, Pampla give you 20 million. But Kamla here, Honorable the Patrick Porach, and to 20 million by me blowing budget, now you have some money, so go down and start with 10 million faster. That's why you got 10 million. Me fight the country. Me don't fight with me no more. Me fight the country. Was selectively me can't electricity stuff. Water cartim, mountain cartim, solar water cartim, wind cartim, cloud cartim, the kangan cartim. Now you kiss him big time start. I fought for you. Today you now enjoying 10 million. When you stop long there, Mr. Acting Speaker. Me mamas. Time you looking how siglong Bogia. Electorate. Time you looking court house no minimum. Me go long when civic no me looking when young group Satsian no me looking one floor. When water supply come no place. Me go kundiawa, but me looking one floor. School by Stablo, what a symbol or where? Me by no mass because every long DSIP you kiss him, something me fight long him. You kiss him. Today me come to talk, we have to take top action. Top action long. You may help you all under you henga. Come on, me time believe me to talk. You know what one block time stop, me to me stop time. Time believe. You know, no good time, good block time. Brother.
Honorable Governor, we have a point of order from the opposition.
Sorry, member.
And talk about a very serious issue that has affected this country, this nation. We're here to talk about what's affected the people of Enga and Waperamanda. Why are we laughing about an issue that is eaten into the fabric of this nation? Why can't we be serious about our debate?
Honorable
and we are laughing about it, Mr. Speaker, with due respect, Lord, our honorable leaders. Please, show some decorum. Let's debate about this thing and find some solution, some way forward. This is the opportunity for us to...
Honorable Opposition Leader. Honorable Opposition Leader, I take note of your point of order. It seems to be making it long like a statement, so I will allow you to make a debate in regard to that. Honorable Governor, I will ask you to continue, but your 20 minutes have already lapsed. 15 minutes. Honorable Governor, as you are a mover of this motion, I will allow you to present the motion that you have that you'd like to table on Parliament. I'll allow you for that. I'll not give you much more than 5 minutes. So, go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I need your clearance because I'm the author of the motion, so I must conclude later. If you say after all of the honourable members have spoken, I will conclude later and give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes, I can.
That is why, Honourable Governor, I gave you 5 minutes to conclude and table to what you have.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Member, for Wanimo Green. I can see that you're excited, which is very good, because you're going to speak. As long as you get the lead from the Speaker. All right, having said all of those problems, I don't need to repeat. You have seen it through the Facebook, all of the social media, what have happened. Certain action needs to be taken. But it's important that I bring the motion so that we can begin our debate, right, and help the nation. I'll just recommend what I think should be recommended. In the light of all of those, Mr. Speaker, I will tender my copy of my speech to you so that you can incorporate it in the answer. In the meantime, and then those who want to have access to them, they're entitled to it. So, Mr. Speaker, very important peacekeeping role is needed in this country, and I call and I recommend for a peacekeeping troops to attend to this matter. Wapanamanda and Wabek and the fighting that occurred there, and most likely, maybe, I just think, might continue. I recommend, Mr. Speaker, that we have a peacekeeping force established by the government to look at this matter with the government, consultation with the government of Enga, with a consultation with the government of Papua New Guinea, with a consultation with the government of Australia, our good friend, and with a consultation with the United Nations. And all of the provincial government if they wish to come in. And I recommend for a troop of peacekeeping. Peacekeeping role is to, one, I recommend that they make sure that peace and security are attained in that area. Number two, facilitate the political process. Number three, this team will protect civilians who have been affected or about to be affected or likely to be affected. We need to attend to them. Number four, assist the disarmament and demobilization and reintegration of former combatants. Number five, support the organization of democratic election. Number six, protect and promote human rights. We show that there is the abundance of breaches of human rights breaches. Number six, protect and promote. Number seven, assist and restore the rule of law in that area. And that we provide, the government of Papua New Guinea provide the adequate resources and security be guaranteed. I recommended that there be a chief mediator appointed to oversee this thing in the submission, which I'm unable to say because of lack of time, and is staff and facilities. Number four, initiate period of appointment be made 6 months with a report to be made for Parliament. Number six, the chief mediator be responsible for training of staff, and that may be made available to similar circumstances elsewhere in Papua New Guinea. And that one, and then number eight, that the once set up Australian government, this government, our government, be approach the Australian government to support with the logistic support, resources and training of Papua New Guinea peacekeeping team under the Australian Papua New Guinea bilateral security agreement. I understand from the Prime Minister that he's already dealt with the Australian government to come up with this kind of agreement. So I propose that Prime Minister and his team will enhance talking with the Prime Minister of Australia to enhance that bilateral treatment, security agreement and have it utilized. That the Australian Papua New Guinea bilateral security agreement be rectified immediately. We hear talks, but let's bring that proposed agreement to the Parliament so the Parliament can peruse the agreement and Parliament can debate, and Parliament can rectify as soon as we can. That the chief mediator enlisted support and advice of similar peace missions work such as the UN mission to resolve the conflict like what happened in the autonomous region of Bougainville. We agree with the United Nations for peacekeeping troops to help us in the Bougainville conflict, and I call on the Prime Minister and his team also to engage the United Nations.
Honorable Governor.
And the security is provided.
The Honorable Governor Fumorobe, I interrupt you. The 5-minute extension I gave you is lapsed. I will ask you to seek leave of the chair, and you can table your to incorporate your.
I seek the leave of the Parliament, the Speaker, to table documents relevant and pertinent to this motion before you, Mr. Speaker.
Leave granted. Provincial Member for ECPIC.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think just a caution for us leaders, especially since all these proceedings are on camera, that when we are dealing with issues where a significant loss of life is involved, at least you me so him sampla bel sorel all people blue me. People all sipics kolimol enga all one waran. I know that my people are deeply grieved by the huge loss of life. Lo line lo head lo wara. And so, first of all, I think on behalf of the people of Isipik, Miplai Salim Strong Platok Sore, want them bel wari. Igo lol people bloenga, na Wapenamanda in particular, na Miplai Sanap want them all leaders blong, enga province. Want them kind halivim, suppose Miplol Sipik inap lo givim, Miplol one wara start. There's something emi kama pantablong. Wapna manda emino aste tasol pa imi guria na talk something I come up. You miss a long time yet also me got big la heavy stablo upper highlands. Meeting him this la time me been sit down upside na. Ibiniga this la killing si come up long tari na only kidnap him more than 20 pla young pla marry. Na me been stab also deputy chairman blong gender equity na women's empowerment committee na me. Ask him lo upside na mi talk. Lo bel wari blomi lo this lo 20 pla young pla marry. We only go through long rape lo this la kidnapping na. This la time me been making one pla sing out, one pla neck lo upside. Na me been asking government lo set him up one pla special task force. Suppose you me call him you me yet also me independent state, then you me need lo bring him all get a power lo state I come bung him na by inapim long. Banish him all people blow you me. Lo kain heavy. First time lo life blow me inside lo country blow me pla. Me look him dead body only pile him on top long. Backside lo car. Also in firewood. Also in big copra you me throw me nothing lo backside na carry. Lewa blow me brook. Misawe lewa blow planti Papua New Guinean si brook. Time only sali wambla video blow young pla pikinini ya me hard lo watch him. Liglig pikinini only kati mem lo bush knife. There's no something em should make him na mid lo leader blow country must find him hard lo sleep lo night. Time we been make him sing out long upside. Expectation blow me yourself. By me walking all this plus something he come up na by come up hurry up. Misa harim sing out blow big la brata governor blow enga. Me come inside first time lo this house. Me stop outside yet them sing out long law and order. Me play governors, me play making plenty neck, plenty sing out. Me play ask him lo halibim. No God looks away as I come. Now this la big play heavy come up. Now you me act to some you me kirap no good. Oh how na something come up. Tas all got a sign belong me stop in this. Me like give him example also. Suppose one bla balusi crash. One bla F100 them crash. Are up to by me salim all investigators. All got a kind line. By me try make him walk, find him out, lo make sure awesome. Next balus by non up crash. Are we taking the same approach now with this many people dead? Are there some actions that you may also have government, we can put it in place so that, people of Enga Tasolo, people of Upper Highlands Tasolo, but all Papua New Guineans can be assured that the next time someone is planning an event like this, we are ready. Are we doing those kinds of things? Is the government, the independent state of Papua New Guinea, doing those kinds of things? If not, then why not? And the other question should be, when? When am time by me making? It's one thing for us to come and stand here and say, oh look, Midlap are making Desla come, but people are still being murdered en masse. Killing 5, 6, 7 Desla Kanya, I think we've already gotten used to that. So I'm no more there. Black Wednesday come up na Port Mospina. 22 plaman meri inday. Tasol em no more there. It's okay. You may wait in up 70 or 80 or how much day antar lo wapa na banda now. And now you may skin blow me kerap. That's not good enough. Leaders, it's just not good enough. If we need to amend the budget, then treasurer, you kiss him come lo floor, you may amend him, put him 700 million or 800 million or whatever it takes to protect our people. What is so hard about that? What is so hard about that? You mean online the passing budget, you may stop, yeah? If we need to bring specialists from overseas, well, why aren't we doing that? Why aren't we doing that? In Australia, some years back, they had a madman kill about 35 people, I think, in Tasmania. As a result of that, Australian government act, Nami Rausim all get a gun. To this day, it is very difficult for you to go and find guns in Australia. They took out all automatic weapons. That's what a government does. It responds immediately. When are we going to take the guns off these terrorists operating in the Upper Highlands? When? When are we going to develop the capability? If we need to send 1,000 troops up there to deal with them and deal with them hard, then why not? Is that not the price we should be willing to pay to protect innocent lives of women and children? We are a government, for goodness sake. Let's act like one. Why are we protecting? Why are we not interested in prosecuting these terrorists with extreme prejudice? Other countries do it. Other countries are working here. Every state reserves the right to the use of force in the protection of its citizens. It is an inherent right of every nation. Why isn't Papua New Guinea using that right? Why not? Leaders, gentlemen, ladies, why aren't we using it? We need a strong deterrent. We need a strong response. We need our intelligence capabilities built immediately so that we can assure not just the people of Wapanamanda and Enga and Hela and Southern Highlands, but all Papua New Guineans, that this state is capable of protecting their security and safety. We must. Otherwise, our legitimacy as a government has to be questioned. Investors are leaving because they think we can't run our own country. And what have we done to demonstrate that we can? We can't protect our own people. We can't. That's what Wapanamanda is telling us. And it's no laughing matter, leaders of this honorable house. We need to get the guns, we need to get the ammunition, and we need to do that immediately. I'm worried simply because if you look at the definition of what constitutes a failed state, we tick most of the boxes right now. The number one qualification of a failed state is its inability to provide security for its citizens. That's the number one qualification. We have that. The number two qualification for being a failed state is a capacity gap in a government's ability, in a state's ability to provide social services. Our people have to wait days in hospitals. We can't even get vaccines because we cut the vaccine budget, according to the Good Health Minister. So we tick the second box too, for a failed state, my fellow leaders. The next one is the legitimacy of the state. Our people are already questioning all of our state institutions because they have lost trust. They are struggling to accept the legitimacy of elections. And I know we are dealing with it, and I know we are going to talk about it, but we tick that box too, my dear leaders. We tick already 3 of the most important boxes for a failed state. We tick it. What's the fourth one? Poor governance and corruption. Do we tick that box or not? Prolonged economic crisis is the 5th box of a failed state. Do we tick that box? Extreme inequality is another box. I could go on, but let me stop him, Lahab. It is time for us to get a serious security briefing on this floor. It is time for us to take emergency measures. I made a comment to the good Prime Minister and his deputy 2 days after the events in Port Moresby, and I said to them, my dear brothers, my dear leaders, if I could, I would give you both medals for firefighting. You are the 2 top firefighters in Papua New Guinea. I said that to them. We cannot continue to fight fires. We need to be strategic. We need to start to build the interdiction capability of our security forces. The threat is not outside, the threat is inside. Last month, Port Moresby. Couple of months back, it was Westby Britain. Apa State Asol, and Wabanamanda. All one wara blomi. Me talk sorry. And I want some assurances from this House that we can say confidently next month and the month following and the month after that, by this la same heavy in on come up la part of this la country. I want us to give our people that assurance. If we cannot, then we should seriously search our conscience. Me sabe you me say calm na crossfight talk lo here, but I think we all want the same things. We all want what's best for our people. We all want our people to live in peace and harmony and to raise our children in relative safety and security and to have an opportunity to raise our children and then their children. I think that's what every Papua New Guinean wants. And this House, this state, the independent state of Papua New Guinea, must give them that. Otherwise, companies are going to pack up and leave, and our problems will worsen. Our smart citizens are going to start looking for opportunities elsewhere because they are worried about the safety and the security of their children into the future. We can't have that.
Provincial member for...
Thank you.
Is Speaker...
Mr. Acting Speaker.
Time has lapsed 10 minutes. Provincial member for Enga.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Firstly, me, on behalf of my people, me like Toksore, long passing, long late, the Honorable Jimmy Oguru, who's already been Minister of Education. I'm one black man or leader Bloimi, Minister who's already been work close to one and people belonging. Now it is appropriate that people can Salim Toksore, Igolo family, electorate belonging Lausina Bundi, na 2 people belong Medeng. Like Toksore, but more importantly, me like talk also contribution belonging long education, no country, me been big pla, too long Enga province. He had a good relationship with us, and on behalf of the children of Enga especially, we like talk sorry. Lo passing blow one blow good, la leader blow me. Bianim display to me like kissing display time so talk sorry lol family blom. Online blom yet only been fight na only indai. I think it is also important for us leaders to realize that display only one player incident where he got fight. That's all. All man yet only elect long go fight. Lo background mila toko sema lo yenga mila no silip na stop nothing. Work for me for the last 26 years to give education because we are changing mindset. More people blame me. Talk sabelo people every time. Work blo leader and talk. You know long karim gun blo police go na stop work. Or people blo yenga time got this law opportunity mila talk here. Or some more leader blo me work blo. From the local level government up to the national level. Talk, no only no can fight. And I'm in last place. Kiss him school. Put him up in school where future belong only guaranteed. That's a plenty time. You mean I can blame the government, that's all? Plenty time. Responsibility I'm stable yet. So some citizens blowing a mila talk sabe. Fighting him, but time you go fight him blowing that. Display incident he come up. Display big club killing he come up. Time me been away from his Mr. Assistant Speaker. Just for the information of the House and the people of this nation. Me kiss him intel finish. Me advise him provincial police commander on the ground. That by got one big club right back him up. It's an ongoing fight. So you got enough troops. Thank you long government blame me. He got 114 soldiers currently serving in Enga. You got close to 200 over policemen is double long Enga. Me been giving this intel long provincial police commander. Now me talk display and by big club fight, so ready long display. Unfortunately, Mr. Acting Speaker, unfortunately, only no wake up. Now this reaffirms my call all the time. My Prime Minister, my government. Do I have to be, present with a degree sitting in this parliament? Or a rocket scientist to keep on telling this parliament and this nation that there is a crisis. The crisis is law and order. It's about 8 years I've been saying the same old thing. Yes, plenty money there now, you may talk. That's all it has been coming. You leader, you must look. You see the situation. I keep on saying we are going to lose this country, and some of you think I'm a madman. If you don't have order, if there is no respect for authority, I can endorse what Governor Bear is saying. We won't have a country. We honorable members won't be here, sitting here, enjoying privilege as members of parliament. We have to make sure this country survives. The country is stable. Yes, now Lenga is planting, but look at what has been happening in the whole country. People are numbers. People, got fight, got cross. Over some people, islands come down, finish. They are one kind. We have the same challenges. We mustn't talk about economy and all these big things that we are talking about. Let's give security to our people first. Security. This country will only survive if you have got order. Aside blowing up, people had me look at this life. I've been managing these things forever. For my 26 years in office. Law and order is an issue for me every year. That is why I've been calling on my government. The former Prime Minister, my own brother, the Honorable Peter O'Neill couldn't even listen to me too. Now my own brother, the Honorable James Marab, is not listening to me. I don't have to be too smart in this parliament to tell you what I see. From experience, I'm telling you people. I manage. My job is to talk peace, tell people not to fight. But where is the instruments of government doing their job? How much time need to you know around the police force in this country? Don't tell us you have a police force when you don't have one. Goodness. Sample time I proposal blow me to you. Easy one. Kisi monar line ka melbi mina build him up this police force. Blow you me. It is so important. You must realize that. All the government agencies in this country are important, but police is so important. Police is the is the face of government. We can sit here and pass all the laws we want, but if the body that's entrusted with enforcing police is not effective, you can tell your government as you know government. You can talk all day here in parliament, but all man by laplo you outside of this parliament, because you can't enforce it. So all this boils down to these agencies of government, law and justice sector. We have to improve them. So I want to endorse what the governor for ECB has said. Let's be serious. Let's be serious, please. In the city, we all have our family and relatives here. How secure are they? Can they go to the shops without worrying about their safety? If not, in this national capital, we have a serious problem. So once again, on this occasion, over my dead body up there, how many deaths have occurred? I want to ask my government and the Minister for Police to please appreciate my proposal. It's not rocket science. If you people don't have a strategy, hire one already. We are so close to Australia. Our security is important to Australia. I'm only calling Australia on this floor all the time because they can give us the manpower and the number of manpower we want to finally get a culture of policing right. If you send, like Prime Minister said today, send 500 to the police college. When they come back after graduating, passing out, if they go to the districts, who's a mentor there? Who's a police officer who's going to mentor these young people? I've had experience 3-4 years ago when 37 came to Wabek. They lasted only 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, they looked like all the old policemen and women anyway. Kisim strategy blomia, please. Old man blomia ula indaya. Huh? By me kisim big name on this plan. No, this like country but kisim big name. And I want to be part of the strategy because I can make it work. Me blongaraya. Enga province is a least developed area, last province to have been declared a province in this country. And my vision has always been to make it a progressive province like every other province. And I always knew that if I don't get law and order right, I can't make it. Simple as that. So now look at me, black, kiss him bad name long enga, that's a proper again, kiss him bad name, yeah. One tribal fight and you have 50 deaths. Yeah, man. And record it. All Israel from a bomb long Gaza. 50 man, in there one bad time. The Papua New Guinea, one bad tribal fight one day, now me got record. So me ask him, government, for me, please. I have said it. I have got no grudges against any one police officer or anybody. What is right for the country, we have got to say it out without fear or favor. I am saying to my own government and the parliament here that the police force and the law and justice sector needs a big shake-up, big assistance so that we can get it right and give our people the security that they want.
Provincial Member Enga, your 10 minutes has expired.
Thank you. I think I've said enough. Thank you very much.
Minister for Health.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. Lodis Lavinu, I think me like also taking this time now. Talk sore long. Minister Lumipla, Honorable Jimmy Ugoro, now people blame long. Usino Bundi, now people of Medeng. Wambla Gupla Minister Muslim Life. Mipla people long Wabek to Mipla. Talk sore Kamosem. Lol family blongem, now people blongem. Now especially all leaders representing Medeng long floor. Assistant Speaker, we also recognize him that talk thank you long. Governor Blomipla long Morobe long bring him up this debate so he can discuss in this very important issue. Assistant Speaker, me before me come to Parliament, me work as a doctor. Now time me work as a doctor, I got implanted sick. Me plus I treat him. Now one plus sick came name blood is like sick diabetes. Now sick diabetes, I will call him systemic illness because time and come up low blood is obvious member spread go long over up. But then I'm some manifest long very vulnerable areas. Like heart, like kidney bleeding. Also for some man and develop him so that's where I'm some manifest. But you know minimum I'm sick and come up long up. I'm sick and sub into the system. But I manifest all vulnerable areas long body. Now long this lavinun, me feel him Sam, me feel him sore, long sanap long floor of Parliament, long talk long all narpla leaders were placed long all staborai. And me reflect him, give him bad reflection on me or say me wambla man where me come talk nothing and me no make him due diligence from me lo place. Big plus Sam and me come. Me no feel also me got him this mandate now long talk long give me as a government because obviously what has transpired over the last couple of days and come up long place for me. But nonetheless, also me make him talk picks up in this. What has happened is a symptom of a bigger problem we have in this country. And we must not take it lightly. And I've been saying it for a very long time in cabinet and I'm saying it again on this floor. Law and order is one of the most important enablers that will see a country develop forward in terms of economic development, in terms of the other social services. Human beings are social animals and have evolved with a natural tendency to live in social units. In order to operate successfully, these units or societies have had to develop ways to organize and regulate themselves for the benefit and security of their members. And as a result, various forms of government, like the one we have evolved. In order for these societies to live safely, and in order citizens have to surrender some of their rights and liberties to their government of choice. These concessions are made in a democratic process called election, where a society as a whole form an agreement called a social contract with the mandated leader and thereafter a legitimate government on which the authorities have vested their rights. This sovereign authority or government must be strongly enforced to ensure these rights are protected. Under the terms of this social contract, our citizens, Mr. Speaker, have granted us, the government, the authority to exercise those rights on their behalf for the benefit of society as a whole. This essentially gives the state monopoly to the use of force, whether violent or otherwise. This agreement is detailed in our formalized constitution, Mr. Speaker, detailing the powers and responsibilities of the government and the rights of the citizens. Mr. Speaker, what we see now is a total breakdown of this arrangement, of this law and order, indicating a total disintegration in the social contract where both parties have failed. The citizens' failure lies in usurping functions that have formally conceded or surrendered to the government by taking law into their own hands and setting their own standards for what they deem as justice, essentially breaking the state's monopoly on the use and dispensation of authority and force. The government's failure is not exercising appropriate discretionary authority in exercising force, in the use of force, under what otherwise are deemed necessary and prevailing circumstances like the one we have in Wabek now. Law and order is the most important prerequisite for the development and economic growth of any nation. If we as a government fail to curb the rise in lawlessness, there's simply no way our nation will grow. Numerous literatures and studies done by all the leading financial and growth and development institutions throughout the world have presented incontrovertible evidence to support this. In fact, law and order issues are a symptom of a government that is losing control. We have a sacred responsibility to protect the lives and properties of our people, and it should be our first and foremost priority. Now, the recent violent tribal fights in Enga have arisen from two fundamental reasons. One, election-related, and the other, the consumption of alcohol. These fights have escalated due to people's lack of trust, of respect in the government and the institutions of state that are mandated to solve law and order issues. Basically, people realize in their anguish and pain that losing a family member, the justice will be very slow, protracted, and in some cases, not exacted. There is a growing disenchantment and disillusionment of the government and its ability to deliver on the social contract through the expeditious execution of justice. Mr. Speaker, there is a growing lack of trust in the institutions of state that deal with law and order, and has given rise to the recent escalation of law and order issues in the country, more so in my province. It is clear that many ordinary Papua New Guineans have little faith in either the efficiency or the fairness of the formal justice system we have. There is popular perception of a widening gap between law and justice. They believe there is two sets of law in this country, one for the ordinary disenfranchised citizens and one for the elite and upper class. There is very evident as the law and order cases is rising exponentially because people would rather take law into their own hands and in their minds exact vindication that is just than wait on a system they consider corrupt, elitist, and convoluted. In this respect, Mr. Speaker, the deficiencies of the present system relate as much to lack of legitimacy as opposed to lack of institutional capacity as we fervently portray. I believe the lack of legitimacy is the biggest problem we face as a government today than ever before. Our forefathers lived happily despite occasional altercations as their process of dispute resolution was sacred and had a lot of integrity. Members of the tribe knew they would be given fair and timely justice. This is the same everywhere today in the more civilized and mature democracies. Justice, to remind all of us, has three components: penalization according to law, and then only before an ordinary law; equality before the law, and the fairness of laws. To end my debate, Mr. Speaker, we have to be very truthful in our intentions. We must be pure in the dispensation of our mandates. Everything we do must be to serve the interest of the people, whilst law and order at its very root may be from disengagement of people in meaningful employment or otherwise needs our economy to grow. Economy will grow when we have law and order. They are intertwined in a vicious cycle where one feeds the other. Therefore, as a starting point, we need to fix one and the other will come. Law and order is what we have in our hands right now. We had a judge, Mr. Speaker, to end my speech today, my debate today, we had a judge by the name of Justice Ellis, Graham Ellis, who was in Enga between the years 2006 and 2010. During those 4 years, Enga enjoyed one of the most peaceful times in its entire history. One man, one judge. Cases were dispensed at extraordinary rate. People saw justice in its true colors, and he was respected and revered. He walked the streets even after dispensing what people deemed as very severe penalties on people. However, one fateful morning news came that the judge's contract was not to be renewed. Mothers lined the streets in the morning crying and protesting, but to no avail, Mr. Speaker. The very day he left, the nights were filled with drunken brawls, people breaking bottles on the streets, altercations, and the rise of law and order in Enga. What seemed like a dream ended that fateful day. To those who had a hand in its removal, damned be to you and your people. This is a true story of one man, not a system, one man. I repeat, one man doing his job honestly, bringing peace to an entire province. The biggest issue I see today, Mr. Speaker, is not an issue of capacity. It's an issue of legitimacy. The people don't trust us anymore. What we see in Enga is a simple problem arising from a drunken brawl. But Olman Saviosen, if they don't take law into their own hands, justice will be delayed. And justice delayed is justice denied. So they resort to the avenue they know best. Mr. Speaker, that's why law and order problem go bigla lo country blomipla. My plea today, Mr. Speaker, is that let's restore the sensitivity of our institutions. You may bring him some and sacredness back to all institutions of state. Yes. Police is being highly politicized. Justice system obviously has lost its sanctity. If it means we need to bring people and form an oversight committee, people with esteemed, reputation throughout the region, you may bring him all come, and let them all form an oversight committee, and let them assess the performance of our law and justice sector, Mr. Speaker. Because me feeling, in the field of medicine, we do our audits every morning. Mr. Speaker, just 2 minutes.
May I interrupt
every
you?
morning,
10 minutes
we plus make him audit.
has expired.
In this country, it seems that certain institutions, like the judiciary, like the police, they are beyond reproach. They have fenced themselves into an elite enclave, beyond reproach. And it's hard to get accountability from them. That's the problem in this country now. We need to restore the sanctity of our institutions. Therein, Olman by looking Mosem, Olman make him walk right, now by trusting, now by believing government. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister of Police.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. I rise on this occasion to contribute to this debate. And before I do, Acting Speaker, Deputy Speaker, me like firstly give him bel story blomi golong all families, na all mamas, na children, long Enga province, long situation where me come up, me talk bigla bel story blomi on behalf of my people of Bougainville. Since the crisis, no good plenty blow plating osem. This last situation blow Bougainville ami pinis. There are certain areas of Bougainville that are experiencing currently what we have experienced up in Enga. Particularly in South Bougainville, where a place called Kono. But the leadership on the ground to only look long how long only can create him this la walk boom long address him this la prevailing issue long Kono. I think Speaker, me too, again on behalf of my family, me na people me giving bill sorry blomigo long all people long usano bului long Minister blow you me long education long untimely passing blongem. Now, before me contribute on this debate, me like use one terminology where me resonate. Long me, lo time me meet him. Minister blow you me long. Education, lay to guru. And me say talk all the time lo cabinet, and say talk all sem lo me. You can be qualified, but not educated. And one profound statement straight where me said still tete. And me say question me long ting na how you meet tete inside one mindset blow you me. How system blow me create him this la ting na talk blongem. And that is what inspired him to make a lot of reforms inside long education system. I think speaker. This law and order system na story law and order situation blaming the country. You can almost draw a correlation with the instability of government. 49 years, 12 prime ministers, and 19 police commissioners. If we are to have a prosperous environment, then we need to have consistency and stability in government and those that we've given power to become custodians of the law by which we all dwell in or operate in. Acting Speaker, and I concur with our good Honorable Minister Lino. Our systems have deteriorated. And again, why has it deteriorated? Because of instability and the loss of trust of the system, culminating into lawlessness. Acting Speaker, while I identify that, this government since 2019 to 20 made a very strong statement that law and order was going to be the priority. The Marape Roster government made a strong statement and backed it up to address the deteriorating system, also observing and incorporating some of the recommendations, such as international intervention into our policing system. But changes do not happen overnight, Acting Speaker. It needs continuity and stability. This is the first time this government has been able to maintain stability in the force by ensuring that the Commissioner has a second term in office, so that we can sustain and stabilize and improve on the interventions. Acting Speaker, you may talk long, increasing policemen. We are stretched in all means for our policing in the country. 6,300 to almost 12 million people, Mr. Speaker. We can feel the impact right now. And this government is addressing it. We just started recruitment. It will take 12 months, Acting Speaker. And we're doing that. We'll have 500 officers coming out. We've reached out to the Australian government to intervene through the Australian Policing Partnership. We have professionals now working with all our new cadets at Bomana. We've also sent out a memo including a job description for 60 policemen of the Commonwealth nations to come in and fill in our middle management, which is one of the biggest challenges within our organization. So it's out there, Acting Speaker. We are addressing, and it will take time for this to come into fruition. We need stability, Acting Speaker. For our country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, me talk thank you straight long. Me recognize him all policeman, military users tap on tap lo help him good luck governor, lo imi an tap lo ngenga. Mr. Speaker, by me bring him domestic terrorism act to come into the parliament too, hopefully this week. Na yumi declare him pinis enga osem western end, hela enga na Southern Highlands, osem special policing zone, na law by karamapi mo long make him walk blongol, and me domestic terrorism act, and that will help us in empowering our policemen and our defense force who are now operating in an interoperability command head by our commissioner, Mr. Speaker. So we are having challenges, but this government, the Mara Rosso government, is implementing strategies by which it has been neglected for many, many years by previous government. So, Mr. Speaker, we don't have all the answers that we can give you overnight, but only through stability and continuity, then we can see change. Attitude and mindset does not change overnight. Attitude and mindset does not change overnight. You need to sustain it. You need to repeat it continuously. And Mr. Speaker, bami endim debate blomi taso losem. All that value mi tok longem lo mindset. That's why my opening statement blomi one time. You can be educated, but not, you can be qualified, not educated. It stems back from our Christian values. Nami hamas from this government, Marpe Rosso government, you me declare him you me antap long tok long Papa God. Em tasol by strong in mindset lo you me. We need that. That is the foundation of every person in this country. And by banisim you me lo about you me inside the country you me. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister for Forest. Order. Minister Forest. Order. As a chair, I'm given
me understanding some online mila ko kimlik debate blomi to law cyclo civic mino sana was a minister. Be sim title blomi as a minister. I want to speak on behalf of the people of Civic too. I'm represented by the people of Angoram. I am not, I want to tell this house, my good honorable speaker. We all are elected into this parliament because of our people. Not because me come na current ministry of place Angoram na come. So don't, please. In debates like this, it doesn't matter whether you are minister or whatever. This is our house that we have to maintain some decorum. On papa blongi block him house here, look I'm stand up no talk. Some time ball man no place but talk me come a power pot.
Member Not Fly, what is your point of order?
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. My good Minister of Forest, making debate, thank you.
Member Not Fly, your point of order is in order. Minister, you...
Mr. Speaker, I think maybe missing out or me talk strong. But this allows him to fight, he talk lo defend him. But we feel sorry. But before me talk, me talk sorry through. No, this allows, so me raising voice below me. But me too like seems la time on behalf of people blind Goram lo talk sorry lo late brother minister. Me plus Salim talk sorry go lo family no people long usino bundi. He stand up to lo give him legally contribution below me lo one of me good plan this la country where one of alternate way, me black and pine him, help him all. This is the common issue where entire country is facing. Law and order, and me plug facing. Me plug to civic facing this something. Over the province, we love facing. But what is the way forward? How do we address it? We can blame the minister, or we think that the government has all the answers, but collectively we put our hands together, our heads together, because it is all about the mindset of our person. Everything happened, before the thing happened, the guy has to make or some sit down, pass him talk or walk him think, and it is the head. that controls that person whether to go and fight or not to fight. Or have him boost type na kati man or no God. Or have him gun na suti man or no God. Or lo plus plumiplo using wire catapult. Kind of when it's happening. I see this happening in my province, and my good governor on the other side. We know we suffered a good Samaritan to go out and get kisim halbim lo line na plenty blow patient we come na recorded long flight blow this labalus. It's all about wire catapult. These things is happening all throughout Papua New Guinea. So me like putting on some suppose just like issue and legacy issue and we stop over time. We just came in. This is one in Parliament now we miss it out. You play it, continue. And long time in come. And these issues are approaching like our good governor for Henga said. I'm also making some proposals and put him one of them recommend him. Those are the things where we can look and find ways to support the government collectively. You may all get one time. You may put him thinking one time, support him government, support him prime minister, deputy prime minister, support the government, the way forward for our people. Let's find a way forward. And I think, long old brother losing life on top of one we feel for them. And we have to find ways. Like me, but trying to contribute to this debate also. When I'm rod, but me black can stop him all ammunition or gun or something like that. Me blow look some entry and me come look up. Me too me by partly blame because entry and CP2, my district, coming out. And things like that. So how do we put some measures or protection of this little area so this type of things, ammunition and guns don't move in those areas? Or what measures we can take as a country, as a government, like you mean banning gun in the country. Kind of thinking of them. So Mila contribute like me talk sorry, lot people blowing on what happened. And I'm me talk sorry to speaker, to the opposite side, or over the Senate me making me raising voice, but please, me respect you, brother, or leaders. You back a time no talk. Me losing them. Flow I'm open, but please support the government and let's find a way forward for our people and what we can put in place to support him. Government, one of the best way. Let me like, kiss him just like issue. Banning guns and one blah blah mega ting land. Now looking way all ammunition to come land. Me bless stopping. Where me contribute to this law something. So thank you very much, Speaker. Thank you for giving time to me.
Opposition Leader.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. For the opportunity to law opposition. I think law opposition got plenty man like talk now. Please give me the opportunity. First of all, we like talk thank you, Governor Morobe. You carry Mr. Paper come. Suppose government, looking Muslim number one priority na put him inside law paper tete. Me like talk thank you also. You look him and priority. Now, on behalf of the people of Kiruna, good enough, now my people of Millen Bay, me like talk thank you. Like you look him importance place of paper. Now put him tete. Thank you. Let me qualify myself first before I speak on this subject, and especially people of Enga. I know plenty blame me here, this house, we are honorable people. And let me qualify myself that before I speak on this subject, Wapenamanda and Enga, a few months ago I was talking to Governor Ipatas. And I told Governor Ipatas, I said, Governor Ipatas, my daughter, my adopted daughter, my firstborn in the family, is from Enga. She's from Enga. When she lost her parents, I took her and cared for her. She's a big girl now. She's about 26 or 27 now. And so I qualify myself that I want to talk for peace in Enga. Mr. Speaker, inside the country, believe me, this law and order has eaten, has eroded the foundation of society. It's eaten into the foundation of society. And destroying plenty something. And destroying lives of young man, young man. You know, a few years ago and months ago, you may have a story about Milimbe province. And Prime Minister rightfully said it this morning. Places like Milimbe province never had issues with law and order until the culture of guns came into Milimbe province. Mr. Speaker, Assistant Speaker, like, you mean must serious when the Minister for Forest said we must find some way to ban guns in this country. Why? What's so difficult for us to do that? There is a report by Singarok report that is still gathering dust in this house. It's still waiting for tabling law house blaming. The Prime Minister and the Cabinet, please, you may carry this paper come now look at the recommendations in the paper. Yesterday, reading yesterday's paper, Singarok said there are more than 200 recommendations in there. Maybe these recommendations can assist him this house, find him some way forward to deal with some of our issues in this house. A year ago, I spoke about the eroding of morals. This institution about family, how do we strengthen the families? The respect of elders. Inside law, education curriculum blaming. How can we reintroduce some of the things that some of us who grew up in the 70s, I may look like a young man standing here, but I'm older than some of you seated here. I'm telling you. Some of us went to school in the 70s. He's saying size 28, so I'll accept that. But Mileslo talk pilai lo isla house. We need to seriously look at the curriculum that we have. You may have something inside the curriculum where there is this curriculum come up with some you must kiss him save taso. Save lo come adding 1+1. Now reading book. That's all you may have some discipline inside the Islam book. We must embrace discipline in our education system. We must. Now teacher ended up smacking, picking in the classroom. Sorry. Lo time blow me. Lapun man blow me, who was a teacher himself, must kill me in order for me to get out and become a better person. Tete, students cannot be smacked. You smack him, blah, blah, and man go police or arresting you. Mr. Speaker, Tete contribution blow me and plenty. That's all, by me cut him go around, now there's something where you mean must serious. Learn. Just the other day, we brought a paper here. Now you mean yet lo parliament, you mean talk lo Christianity inside lo here. Now me talk. What is the definition by me putting lo this word Christianity? It's a serious question that I put to this house. You mean must seriously considering why you me calling you me this country Christian country. Now thank you, Minister Pilar Niningi, for bringing that paper. But we must identify why you may call him a Christian nation. Because Christianity comes with its principles. Christian principles. We must live by those principles. I know the Prime Minister the other day while he was talking, my good Prime Minister, he said issues were not good enough to where 22 people were murdered, were killed. And true. But my situation in Kiruna is not the same as Los Ampla other places too. I'll qualify that. When the people were killed in my electorate, I got on the plane the next day and flew in. I went and dealt with my own issues. I went and dealt with the local community. My presence alone brought peace on the island. And today on my island, we are working on reconciliation and putting these things behind us. We must find a way forward here in this house, please. Misorelo Mama Blo Upper Highlands. Misorelo Pikinini Upper Highlands. Misorelo Daughters Play me Upper Highlands. They will be crying because they cannot move freely in their own society. I wouldn't deny that tribal warfare is a part of our culture. They've been part of our culture for thousands of years. But they have reasons why they go for tribal wars. They have seasons. But Mr. Speaker, I would like to recommend one thing. And our people are cultured into these things. Now you mean, now, Lord, it's like government. How can we force, how can government use its force to come in and cut the culture that is not good for this nation? Our people are cultured here. Suppose me holding gun, me big man. Suppose me holding this group of people, me man. How do we come in and cut the culture? How do we come in and cut through? When the water is flowing at high speed coming down, the only way you can cut it is by digging Napla's side so that water can go on a flow blend by cut. How do we come in and cut through the culture? Now rousing inside the mindset of all people blaming. My dear Prime Minister and Minister for Defense, let me recommend one thing. If it has to mean that we get our forces up there to the Upper Highlands and park them there, whether it's 300 men or 400 men, we park them up there and they get down there with the police force and stay there for the next 4 years or 5 years or even 10 years and get into the culture and change the mindsets of our people. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. I'm thankful that we have spoken about record budgets. Record budgets. Those record budgets must be translated into some goodness for our people. We cannot be talking about record budgets while they continue to hire vehicles and spend half of the budget on hire vehicles. We cannot be talking about record budgets after record budgets when they're spending too much money on renting houses. The police force must translate the record budget into something that our people can see. Now talk about some police, you walk black.
Honorable Opposition Leader, your 10
My
minutes
time is up. Thank you.
expired.
Finally, let me take this opportunity. Miplalo opposition go pay him respect to Miplalo Honorable Ugoro Pinis. Now, on behalf of the opposition too, may like talk. Thank you, some people. Allow me to go pay him respect to Miplalo. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I recognize the member Lagai from the chair.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. Me like contribute long to the debate. First of all, before I go on with the discussion of the issue, from the people of Lagai and Pogra, I wish to pass my sincere condolences to the people of Usino Bundi. Mibla too, losing leader of Mibla last November in late Honorable Maso Karibel, member of the Pogra. Mibla films la pen, Mibla film now long is a time, so the truth. One time Islam, we don't think it through long, or leaders of Mibla long. Parliament na outside development partners, Mibla stop at the Mibla people blowing, think you through long, Mibla stop at the Mibla na time Mibla bungin every last Sunday. One time Islam, I'll just get to the issue of the trouble fight that happened. Cost him life last Sunday. So in Enya and the Upper Islands, trouble fight is it's not new to us. It has been there and it's still ongoing. It has been there before. I think Upper Islands, most of the parliamentarians before they were born to it was the fight was there. Not this fight, but the trouble fight was there. It's part of our culture. But in this time and era, trouble fight has evolved over time. Now we need a different approach to address this issue. We are the issue of police force. Like we going to a police station, laying a complaint, and then arresting a criminal. That's not working in my part of the province. We don't go to police station to lay complaints to arrest a murderer. We don't do that anymore. We only go and get policemen to mediate. I'm good bla you working Muslims so Emre Larem by you working compensation. Maybe by Karim Golong mediation team long when should in place good. So our approach of addressing law and order in my part of the province has changed. So we no longer need the current normal approach of law and order in our province. So we need new approach. We need, like member for Vanimo Green, the good governor of Isipik, and my governor and member for Warbeck has recommended, we need some of those new approaches, not the whole system of governance in Kenya. For example, the last killing, it's an ongoing trouble fight. It's been going there for last 3 to 4 years, and the killing, the deaths, it's totaling up to 200 to 300 deaths already. The 50, it happened on one day only, but it's still ongoing. So how do we address that? We have never addressed that. So if we send a new PPC, for example, or if we send the police commissioner 2 times, 3 times to Kenya, it will never solve the problem that we are facing now in Kenya. So what's happening here, we need a different approach. Maybe we look into the Singrok report of why we are supplying, why we have a lot of guns in Kenya now, or in the Upper Islands, or we need revisit the Trouble Fight Act, or we have to create another department in between the police and Department of Army where look trouble fight, especially concentrated on Upper Islands where Miblog fight, because Miblog fight na plus bagarap Miblog kamlong plus Libla. Old man ba runway long, enga ba kamlo stable again na causing problem lo again. Old ba go lo lay lo causing problem lay. Old ba kamlo potmosbi lo causing problem lay. This is a national issue, and we must give special preference to the Upper Islands where problem you come na stop now land. Okay, that's my first. Second, man or 50, and I didn't confirm the number, but the people who died last Sunday, one attack will make him long. The neighboring tribe will be fight club land. But all man and place man, all know a gun, all know a bullet, all fight now stop number. But there are people in this city, and in Leh and Potmosby, Motake and Goroka, people are sending money. People are buying bullets, guns. They are hiding here in this city. So to stop the problem, we have to cut the head of the snake. And we have to hunt them down here in the city to stop the problem up there. We can't go up there and stop it. Emol trouble man, all sim trouble go bus, idle bus. You put a pine mall bus. How about you go find him? Emol blessed man. But you mean find him man who said making transactions year long, city, we're selling money go along, fund him all long, or go fight again. If we didn't do that, if we don't do anything now, Emol go fight again tomorrow. Man who says selling money go and stop it. It's still out there, here in the city, and among us. That's number 2. Number 3, Kenya now needs a state of emergency. I requested government, NEC, please give us a state of emergency to address this. Not only this, we have current ongoing fighting, Lagai, Pogra, everywhere in Kenya. We have to declare Kenya a state of emergency now so that we will solve these issues once and for all. And under those, we will address the other issues that I've mentioned. Thank you through Assistant Speaker.
Member for Vanimo Green.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. Me too, me like join him on national speakers only talk give opinions. Mr. Assistant Speaker,
all fellow leaders, fellow Papua New Guineans. Now there's something in the right country, believe me. They got big moral decay, lawlessness and widespread throughout the country. They got total breakdown, no values, no societies, you may stop no end. Mr. Assistant Speaker, security and protection, the safety of citizens, you mean number one priority of any government. Number one. Security, safety, and protection. After security comes the health and education. Any one government of the day must guarantee safety and security and protection of our people. And that will also guarantee the protection of our investment partners, development partners who are coming and investing in our country. Without which, we will lose our country. Our forefathers, the founding fathers, wanted our country to be God-fearing, prosperous, and free. We are adding 50 years, and we are not getting there yet. We are going back. And whilst I'm on that, I want to pass my sincere condolences. Online blaming on Wapanamanda, all seeking tribe, we only kill him all or ambush. Governor Blong, Enga, member Blong, Wapanamanda, member Blong, Wabek, member Blong, Pogera, member Blong, Kandep, Ambum Kombiam, all people blame me Enga. Mito big la toksore on behalf of people blumilo vanimo Green River. Misali one kind toksore all family blowing me plan long. Taripori districts na Loela province. Well plenty of families too only losing all plenty of loved ones blow. No this like kind same kind tribal war. Mr. Assistant Speaker, me raising specific questions asked the Prime Minister because me like him answer. So how by me deal one time security situation in the country, believe me. Maybe it needs a bipartisan approach. Maybe government needs to sanction a bipartisan approach. And pick among the leaders. I'm available to give advice and to be part of that team to make recommendations on how we deal with this situation in our country. It's a national issue. I'm not issue of Prime Minister Tasso. I'm issue of me all geta. How by me deal with the business situation. The root cause of the problem, the tribal wars today are not like before. The tribal wars are now using high-powered factory-made guns. We need to go down to the root cause of it, and I agree with the member for Pogera, or Laigam. Laigat, member for Laigat. I agree with him. We got to go down to the root cause of it. And that's why I asked about the force capability. I asked about the policy. What is the policy of the government of the day? What are the plans of the government? What are the strategies? Police minister need to sit down with the defense minister. Police commissioner need to sit down with the defense commander. The police intelligence, the military intelligence need to sit down with the director general, with the national intelligence organizations. We need to gather all this intelligence. We need to collaborate them. And we will be able to go down to the root cause of this problem. If they were using only bows and arrows, we would not have lost. And from the figures that I'm getting from intelligence on the ground is going up to 70. 70 people. The governor for Enga said that he had intelligence that there was going to be an attack. He informed the authorities on the ground. Nobody reacted. That tells me that our defense force, our police is not ready. There is no force readiness. And force readiness means when you get a piece of information like that, you do your own investigation. And they would have stopped it if they acted upon the information that was provided by the good governor. But they didn't. So that means they were sleeping. That means our force is not ready. I haven't seen police and military on a combined training. We send them up there. They're just running around, fraternizing with the local community. If you fraternize for a good cause, for getting intelligence information, that's all good. But if you're just fraternizing to enjoy yourself, to socialize, you're already compromising the security of our country. It's a serious issue, very serious issue. I agree with the member for Ligap that the leaders of this country are actually financing the tribal warlords, the tribal groups. Where are the guns coming from? Is it coming from Daru? Is it coming from Teleforming through Strickland? Is it coming from Vanimo? Or is it being supplied from Port Moresby? Or is it coming from the police armory and the military armory? These are things that we need to establish, and it can only be done through proper intelligence. It can only be done through proper intelligence. But the government needs to provide that direction. It's not about, oh, we have to leave the police commissioner there for next 5 years, for the next 10 years, for the next 15 years. No. It's about the leadership that we provide now. It's not about consistency in the office of the police commissioner or in the office of the prime minister. If you can provide that leadership from the word go, then you will change the course of the country. You will change the course of the country. You can have a prime minister there for 10 years, but if he doesn't provide the good leadership, this country is going to go into chaos like what we are experiencing today. Do we have intelligence capabilities? Does our police and military have the equipment necessary? Do they have the necessary intelligence capabilities? Do they have the equipment to monitor? I say no. The monies that we give to those organizations are spent on hire cars and not in trying to ramp up and beef up the training. We need a force that's lethal. We don't need a big army. We don't need a big police force. But if we have a force that's lethal, ready to execute at any one time, I haven't seen any ready reaction force in this country. We deploy troops to Ella, to Southern Islands, to Enga, or to West New Britain. There's no training going on. Maybe it's about time government needs to change, come up with a new policy. I made recommendation and I told the Prime Minister, why don't we establish the Ministry of Homeland Security and Department of Homeland Security, where you have the top-notch policemen, top-notch military from the intelligence, immigrations, and you put everybody together in this particular department, and they are there, and you form a SWAT team, or if not, you form a paramilitary. They are readily available to execute on the word go. If we do not act now, we are already losing our country. We are already losing our country.
Honorable Member Vanimo Green, your debate time has expired.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. Just to finish off, I want to support the call by the Governor for Enga that we need to revisit the Enhanced Cooperation Program. Instead of just Australia, we widen it to the Commonwealth countries. And maybe we remove the immunity part, where Governor Luther Wenger himself challenged it and it was deemed unconstitutional. Maybe we need to revisit it and redo it again if we need to have foreign assistance. So I support the call by the Governor for Enga. Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker.
Honorable Member Kopiam.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. Me sanapon den big bla sem osem gutla member blong wa begen tok. Emno one bla nice bla time. Losambla leader also me yet hailing from the province of Enga. Losanaplo here na tok time. Let's me and Bagara. But me like talk, thank you through long. Plenty iblo leaders you go past na tok pinis. Na good bla ting blow you bla. Sindan lo here na mi aren. On behalf of the people of Enga, me like talk, thank you through law concerns blow you bla. That you see this as a national issue more than just a provincial issue from the province that I come from. Mr. Assistant Speaker, we are indeed deeply saddened and concerned by the unprecedented mass killings that have occurred in Wapenamanda, in the province of Enga. Mr. Assistant Speaker, there is no jurisdiction of any kind for this behavior. During these difficult times, Mr. Assistant Speaker, of sorrow and pain, I pray for the innocent mothers and children who have lost a son and a father and are traumatized. Along with the Prime Minister, strongest possible terms. Mr. Assistant Speaker, well, this is a matter of national importance, and the national government must intervene. We must, Mr. Assistant Speaker, we the businessmen, we the elites from Enga must take full responsibility, especially from the affected areas of the conflict zones. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the churches in my province must take full responsibility and do what churches do best, Mr. Assistant Speaker. Mr. Assistant Speaker, I must also say, we the leaders in the province, we the leaders of the Enga province, must now bow our heads in shame, Mr. Assistant Speaker, and must take full responsibility and work together instead of dividing ourselves to address this. Mr. Assistant Speaker, I must highlight the fact that we have certain decentralized powers for our provinces, and Enga is no exception. Village court magistrates, law and order committees, and advisors in the province. Mr. Assistant Speaker, I think it's about time we must check whether such systems are working or have disconnected with our people, and why they have disconnected with our people. On the ground alone, Mr. Assistant Speaker, is the best place to find solutions and peace. Systems that are not working, Mr. Assistant Speaker, must be reviewed, checked, and strengthened. Where is the Provincial Law and Order Advisor? Is he doing his job or compromised? Where are the peace mediators and the village courts in the province? Do we continue to terminate them because they are not political supporters when they're doing their job? These are questions we need to seriously address. Governments on the ground, systems on the ground must not be disconnected. They must stay engaged with the people. When systems are compromised, that makes us vulnerable, Mr. Assistant Speaker, to such situations. What has occurred is an indicator of a weak law enforcement in the province and the country. We all need to come out clear and point to where exactly the problems lie and fix it, Mr. Assistant Speaker. My district, after the 2002 national elections, lost government properties with hundreds of millions of kina, and I am shattered for my people and public servants who fled to seek refuge in an unprovoked attack. At present, Mr. Assistant Speaker, I'm sure the Prime Minister is listening, and this time from the floor of Parliament. At present, I have about 5,000 of my people homeless and spread across the country. Mr. Assistant Speaker, amidst this deaths and destruction, I stood firm. And with the help of some good leaders in the province and my electorate, told my people to flee from the ancestral law and not to retaliate. As I speak on the floor of Parliament today, they're scattered across this country. And we only told them to retaliate, Mr. Speaker, because we were then advised by the security forces on the ground that they were unable to provide the needed security, especially for the public infrastructure. Private lives gone, private property is gone. At the same time, the social media and false reports blamed me for the good of political reasons that they wanted to expose. But Mr. Speaker, I thank people for their prayers. I thank my people and I thank God that we did not escalate. I said clearly then, Mr. Assistant Speaker, that a lie today will be destroyed by the truth of tomorrow. And today, as I stand before you, Mr. Assistant Speaker, I thank the Special Investigation Unit of the Police Headquarters. Police Minister, take note. On behalf of the people of Kompia Mambum and the displaced 5,000 citizens of my electorate, we sincerely appreciate the fact that you have arrested 3 criminals already. And I am sure that public servants and leaders alike, should these investigations and the truth come out clear, will be arrested soon. Mr. Assistant Speaker, in Governmental, the frightening images of dead bodies we are seeing is a sad situation that could have been avoided. When there was a ceasefire, where did the Peace and Law and Order Committee go? Why did the provincial government and responsible public servants not intervene? We cannot continue to blame the police and army. Army and police going to volatile regions use hire cars of leaders, sleep in lodges of leaders, and get money and women from leaders. So they are compromised and distracted from their duties. This is the truth of what happens, and the truth has to be told. If we have to get it right. You mean, can come must be in a parliament na you make German about. There is an interesting scenario where a senior politician called defense to pull out and to let an enemy tribe bend down another village. When this tribal conflict was at its earlier stages, you wouldn't have experienced these deaths if the senior leader called his defense and told them, move out so that enemy can go and bend that territory down.
Honorable Member.
Mr. Assistant Speaker,
interrupt you.
I just humbly, from a province where this problem is, so that leaders on the floor of Parliament can be able to appreciate the truth so we can find lasting solutions.
Honorable Member from the chair, I will give you another 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. You are the best Assistant Speaker since 1992 of my election to Parliament.
Thank you.
As I am speaking here, if the defense is out there listening in, I ask you to do the right thing and to do justice by reporting any political leaders that have intervened and interfered with your independent roles and responsibility. Let the police start dealing with them. If we declare a state of emergency, Mibla by giving Mary na money law police, na army na sleeping all room so that they do our political runs instead of their job to ensure justice is done. Me no talk nothing, Mr. Assistant Speaker. But me come no recommendations from me. Ammunitions were supplied by senior politicians, public servants, warlords. This law talk come lo member blo lagay and talk through. Now you must talk through now. Tubla defense car, Mr. Speaker, Assistant Speaker, from a very reliable source, from the direct source, sponsored by a senior politician. Tubla defense car. Car and ammunition go on, put him logistic blomi so the place blomi go down. And what about this person who was apprehended at Wapenamanda with all these ammunitions? Where is he and where are the ammunitions? We leaders in the provinces are in the thick of things and we are the best ones. On the ground, we must take responsibility. What has happened, and it is on us now to make sure it does not happen again. Mr. Speaker, I recommend to us, as a way forward for a bipartisan committee, to look into specifically tribal fights in this country. Mr. Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister and the good ministers, the good new Minister for Defense, the good young Minister for Police. Your government without fail, and this is the truth, have supported the province with security forces. The truth also is, unfortunately, we at the province compromised them. We compromised them. A way forward for you, Mr. Prime Minister, through your Assistant Speaker. Should you want to declare a state of emergency, should you wish to send more security forces to the province, should you wish to bring in a powerful investigation team, may I say this, that you provide us with a non-compromising leader to lead the security forces, not one that is recommended by politicians from the province, so the leader can stay clear of political compromising and influences. That the security forces must operate independently and outside of undue influences, and in order to do that, may I say, that they come with a sworn, straight code of ethics to conduct themselves when they're in the province. And of course, Mr. Prime Minister, through you, Mr. Assistant Speaker, the security forces must be protected for the use of lethal force. Mr. Assistant Speaker, as I conclude, we mourn for the lives lost and we grieve with the innocent families. We must be genuine and sincere if we are to solve these issues, not come and put a show in Parliament or Port Moresby. May God grant peace to our people of Obenamanda, to my people of Combian, to my people also of Laida and Kandep, and the province as a whole. This incident must be a wake-up call for provincial leaders as well as the national government. May God grant peace to all of us again. I thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. I see that my 1 minute is now timing down. I really sincerely appreciate you for your patience.
Honorable members, the question is that Minister for Attorney General.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. Thank you, Governor, Lord, raising this important issue. Mr. Speaker, most members of Parliament may see me as one of the ministers. Ministers should not talk. No, member talk because I'm Minister of Justice. You walk in trouble, but come to me. Plenty time you talk to justice, so we must clear him this talk. When in something people make him long. Before me go to this land, me like talk sorry long all people or lose him life long all. It's an unfortunate situation, that's all. All man make him or lose him life. So me talk sorry. Now two, me like talk sorry again, lo family belong. Late. Ugura. All stop house crying and me talk sorry. I'll say me one brother blow me next door and sit down here. It's no longer there. So me talk sorry, big plus sorry long. Now, long justice. Aste you working with what people supporting me. I mean, thank you, you member of Parliament. some of the big improvements you may like making, restructure you may like making, addressing court, addressing law and order that's all. Also, you plan making long and I talk thank you, you plan. Long. You see now, we plan appointing so far long this year, last year and this year, government gave him directions and we plan kiss him. Close to 10 expatriate judges come inside. Now, 2 nationals, 2 me black kiss him. Sabe man that's on black come kiss him come inside now. Me play thing also by system by improve. And me also me come long and finish product. That's all. Number 1 start long police. Suppose me no got good police prosecutors or not money no stop and finish product. You know not go straight. So this big problem now. No can think also this government that's all working this trouble no cut. It has happened over the years. People are not attending. Now people are not seriously considering this so this has been accumulated up to come to this far. So people are like addressing talk long tribal fight meeting or same long end. Me long and up too. One trouble he come. Me first money go long I go on this area. Me talk one them online blow me. Suppose you got smoke come up, you got fire long end. Suppose you kill him this fire, putting water long end and bam. So partly responsibility also me bla leader and me bla master blame me bla yet. Me talk lo me yet. In a long time you go finish. All mangi look inside electoral with me, only one black guard or police car na kiss one black gun. Me yet me rani me go inablo me kiss him this gun and give him back the police. We pluck out the responsibilities. What have you done? Have you done anything? You talk big and lawyer crossfight you come. You may crossfight enough. You must make him take him responsibility long. Blow me bla yet. Me bla yet can go now. Solving this problem. That's all you mean to work him. Yes, police you go. How much policeman you sell me go? You know not working one plus something. Only no sabe long custom way people are talk to long. That's all. Long tribal fight. Now to tribal fight, you can go through. Because people are talk, an is a brook long and is a brook. You know not long brook long and big pain. Meaning also, enemy blow you, enemy blow you. You don't blow me. Me can go through. So all same time, you mean not go inside and talk. Now to fight this stuff too. Only the blowing up. Supposed to only go. Only no not kill him. All Larry will come talk. 2 plus side one them. And you know they only no involve fight. So common sense. Only say code of ethics. Some ethics is stop. Also behind. So meeting also Mombera, you must take him this responsibility. Also members of parliament, we must be serious in what we do. Suppose you mean to talk also, you mean talk police. Australian police, white man, he knows how long criminal right is that. Or Narbla money, long way money knows how. Me play here, sabe long, one only stop long. That's so you must identify him, you yet must talk na identify him. So responsibility meeting also him stop lo mi play yet. He come back lo mi play. So suppose leaders, you also one leaders, you may yet you must go to place lo you na you must talk. You go to place lo you na talk. You too also. Suppose we make him also meeting by him in solving problem. At least we can attend to this. So law and order and big plus something that's all. And police is not an answer. Answer is with us. We must be serious. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Governor for NCD.
That's it. All right. Thank you, Assistant Speaker, to give me opportunity to contribute to this very important debate. Me acknowledge the contribution that I made already. Very, very good contribution. And I want to say this from the outset. This situation up at Wapenamanda, Wabek, is unprecedented. Unprecedented, situation that has happened. But sadly, it's not something we did not expect to happen. So at this time, two things we like to talk from the outset. One, you, your leaders, government opposition, everyone, we must use this as a defining moment to truly reflect now, thinking long, leadership bloyumi, country bloyumi, institution of state, what we can do whenever something you may by walking through now, 10 things around. Because me Skellim, suppose you may not take him this moment seriously and by go west. Because he got crisis. No another crisis, you may got to stop. All police do is stop crisis. Why me talk police is stop crisis? Mr. Assistant Speaker, you can look him also. Planti gun na, bullet the movie go na. How comes no got line saveo? Detective mo. Intelligence will police way. Intelligence will NIO way. How many I know that something is secret? So maybe you may allow him to happen. So we want a crisis. Law and order, crisis long institution of state, especially police now. Law and order or security apparatus for you. We make a crisis too long. Values and ethics for you. All these things are happening because you may too. We have not set the foundation right. What are the values that are important for you? As government, as leaders, as parents, as community. You may look at that from the top to the bottom. We are promoting bad values. We are promoting culture of violence as a way of life, as an acceptable thing. That's why we are coming to this unprecedented situation, Assistant Speaker, members of Parliament. We can't blame anyone. We blame ourselves. And we use this time to seriously reflect now, think about real corrective measures. Plenty of suggestions come up, but Mr. Assistant Speaker, there's no one solution only. It must be holistic and multiple. And you must come up with it. You may dedicate a team and prosecute it until things start to change. In the immediate, medium, and long term. Otherwise, when you may fail. Me like go long, talk long. When I'm a member of Governmental Green, emphasizing this point. Mr. Assistant Speaker, members of Parliament, all people by you, we must make this very clear statement whereby go out. We cannot accept what has happened in Wapenamanda, Wabek. We cannot justify it in any way. We cannot use custom or tradition to say this is a practice been done before. No. The responsibility of us leaders is that we must condemn it, like Member Blong, Ambum Kombian. Now, me like joining them, condemn him. Let's not give some excuse to this type of killing. Whatever circumstance. You not going to accept them reasons as a basis for this is a acceptable killing or taking away of life or Mr. Assistant Speaker, that's what brought us here. This is where me talk about moral, ethical crisis you got this time. Mr. Assistant Speaker, over the period of time, you may become indifferent or numb. We've numbed ourselves against the taking of one life. And when we do that, we are giving permission. We are allowing this type of culture or crime or unacceptable, horrific behavior to become normalized. And that's what is taking us, this fire you become Londawa. It's happened over a period of time, not just in the term of Prime Minister James Marape. Before time we come up now, we didn't stand up and we didn't say no. Importantly, we didn't go after the perpetrators to arrest them and make a fundamental statement that this is not acceptable. Me like reminding you again what a member belong, Vanimo Green he talked. The responsibility of the state, any state, is to protect life and property of the people of that state. That's the number one priority, believe me. And I want to emphasize it, Assistant Speaker, it's in our Constitution. Constitution, believe me, you got fundamental rights and qualified rights. There are only a few fundamental rights, one of which is the right to life. Because the law, and we emphasize the sanctity of life, the sacredness of life. And we put in this obligation of the state and the institution of the state to protect life. So over a period of time, he may walk along, not living up to that. With the M1 life tasolia, M2 player. That's why we come this far now, because we are not valuing human life. We think our people are expendable. You may explain in a way that it's a traditional culture of Luyumio. No! Constitution to talk cultures that are repugnant to basic human rights or today's values. We should give it up. So you may not come here, no parliament that talk and culture of Luyumio. Tribal fighting and BB. No. We are giving excuse. We must stop giving excuse. We must as a state stand up, as a leader stand up, get the institution of the state to do what they're supposed to do, which is to protect life and property of our people. We must guarantee this. And Prime Minister, ministers, you must work together to make sure that this basic fundamental right, Lord people, freedom, Lord people, must be guaranteed. Otherwise, you may by failure. On the 10th of January, we failed here in Mosby. We were caught by surprise. Our own institution of state turned against us. The police and the security personnel. No intelligence, and we all gathering to alert us. And maybe we didn't take it seriously. Prime Minister, you may work in administrative investigation. Maybe there's a criminal investigation. Online only go na Burkim store na, cooking store na, all these business premises here. Video is very clear. Some looks in picks up long only at the post him long social media. Anybody been arrested? No got here. If we don't arrest anyone, and I commend the government to go after the police, some giving notice to be terminated. But we must go after some of these perpetrators, those who are involved in the burning and looting. Otherwise, we are enablers, you may lead us here. We have the power. We can do something, but we are not doing anything, or we are not doing much. And that's why it's giving permission. We are telling them that it's okay, you can do it. That's why Antablong Enga promise to remember Blong Kombia Mambu talk. We have not arrested anyone. So it's escalating because we are giving permission to all these local terrorists or warlords or whatever we call them to keep on perpetrating or continue because they think they can get away with it. So it comes back to us now. We must use this moment as a defining moment. Some solution, way forward, or some speakers in top ministers. We need to come up with a strategy, dedicated one, to look at how we can, really put an end to this. In the long term, Mr. Assistant Speaker, we must go back to early childhood here. Government, we have come up with a policy on early childhood. This is the intervention we must make now. Because the children, whether it's in Engao, anywhere in Papua New Guinea, in the upper islands or lower islands or anywhere, once they see violence as a way of life, they see all these killings as acceptable. And what exchanges are passing now, yeah? How are you going to change it? Assistant Speaker and members of Parliament. Police cannot intervene and stop the change their behavior. Police minister is talking. It needs the long-term intervention. to change the culture and attitude.
Honorable
So we
Governor,
must come up with this. Hey, how let me finish,
interrupt you. Your 10 minutes.
But the points we got to stop, but we respect him time.
Honorable Governor, resume your seat. Provincial Member Oro.
Thank you. Assistant Speaker.
Honorable members, I am the chairman who's chairing the session. Honorable Governor Oro.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker, for giving us, the people of Oro, the opportunity to say a few words. I join my colleagues in passing my condolences to the family and people who elected their leader, the late Jimmy Uguro, who was our education minister, a wonderful gentleman, a true leader. He always had time to speak to all of us. He responded to text and messages and made an effort to meet with us and discuss our concerns. So I pass my condolences to the people of Usinobundi and the people of Medang. I just have a few points to make in regards to the issue that we are now discussing. All our leaders here have expressed passionately their concerns. They've put proposals forward, great ideas. Assistant Speaker, I hope that these ideas are taken on board and something is actually done about it, because we have these debates, these discussions, questions during question time, but I'm often wondering what happens from here on. What does the Parliament do with all this information, with all these great ideas, with all these wonderful presentations that are put forward here? Does the Parliament just give a facility for us to talk and sometimes express ourselves and we go feeling that we have achieved something? Because if nothing is done with all these great ideas and presentations, then we are really wasting our time here. I would like to suggest that the Parliament should have some sort of means by which these ideas are summarized and presented to those who are going to make the relevant decisions so that they can be acted upon. That's what our people would like to see. They'd like to see action take place, you know, not just us coming here and talking, because we're always accused of talking too much and not doing enough. This is a common accusation, and rightfully so, you know. So to be a functioning Parliament, I would like to propose that our Parliament have a system in place where all these thoughts and ideas are captured, summarized, and presented to the relevant ministers or to the relevant parliamentary committee chairman. And then it's acted upon from there. And I would like to propose that the Prime Minister have in his office, he has a number of ministers that assist him, perhaps he could have appoint a minister specifically responsible for this, so that action is taken on the presentations made here, on the ideas that are presented here. Because today, for instance, as Governor Parkop has stated, I guarantee that after this, we will become numb to the 50 people that were killed last Sunday. First, it was just 1 or 2, we were shocked. Then 3 or 4, we were shocked. You know, but after a while, we became numb to it. We became desensitized to this. And now, it's so normalized that for us to see this on social media, we're no longer shocked. Yes, we are shocked now because we've never seen dead bodies piled up on a truck, as we did starting Sunday. But I guarantee that after that day, after seeing that, we will not be shocked anymore. We will become numb to it. So how do we prevent ourselves from getting to that stage where we are numb and desensitized? We must act on this. I saw a very horrific video just recently. A video that is circulating on social media. A child of a preteen, perhaps around 11 or 12. And he's begging for his life, this young man, this young boy, a child. He's begging for his life. He's saying, please don't kill me. I'm just a child. I'm here to see what's happening. I'm a son of a leader, he was saying. And on video, they brutally hacked him to death. And then there are now photos of that child, lifeless body, chopped into pieces, being circulated on social media.
It's amazing that social media also allows this. Facebook, for instance. They will not allow this on their social media platforms, but they allow it on our social media platforms. It's quite amazing. I'm digressing here, but now this image of this poor child, there are videos of those people who brutally murdered this child. What's going to happen to them? Will these people be these murderers, will they be apprehended? Will they be sentenced appropriately to jail for the crime that they have committed? Brutal murder of a child? We are going to become numb to this too. I mean, there are images of headless bodies, killed and beheaded, being posted on social media. We're also becoming numb to that. There are videos of women being tied and tortured, naked, with photos and images of the persons conducting these crimes, and we are still not doing anything about it. Immediately we should form a team to go after these particular murderers, for instance, those who are identified, and apprehend them, prosecute them. We should create a special jail for this type of terrorists and criminals. And I want to say here that we should stop calling them warlords. Why are we glorifying them? They are criminals. They're murderers. They're terrorists. Create a special jail out in a remote island. Make it happen. We have so much money. But what are we doing with it? Create that special jail where they can be kept there in isolation. And for crimes like this, for the rest of their lives. They should never be allowed to see the light of day. And this will be an effective deterrent. We don't have enough deterrent action. We have a lot of laws. We keep passing laws. But we are very poor at enforcing these laws. This enforcement of these laws will provide the deterrent action that is needed to deter people from committing this type of crimes. I mean, we're not even deterring the most basic crimes that are being committed here, right before our eyes. For instance, if you drive down anywhere, even here in NCDC, you see people blocking roads on the pretext of patching a pothole, and they're collecting money. This is a crime. In every other country, they would be arrested and locked up. Here, we pass by and do nothing about it. You will see women being assaulted on the streets, just here. Nothing will happen. Littering and loitering, public, defecating and urinating, nothing will happen. Graffiti, nothing will happen. These basic laws are not being enforced. We talk a lot about Singapore here. Let me tell you about something that they did. They have a law that bans and prohibits chewing gum, bans and prohibits spitting. Now we may look at this and we may say, why, those are they're not even crimes. Yes, but it's the development of the mindset that the great leader Lee Kuan Yew was considering when he put those laws in place. If you chew, you will throw. If you litter and spit, therefore you disrespect authority. Then you'll be able to commit other more serious crimes. That's why he put those laws in place to deter even those very minor, what to us appear to be basic crimes or basic misdemeanors. He put laws in place and prohibited them, and there are heavy penalties. And they apply the law and they ensure that they enforce it to deter those type of crimes and any other crimes from occurring. I agree with the leader with the member for Wanimo Green. We need an elite team, a mobile elite team who are well trained. And in instances like this, we must demonstrate that we are serious about protecting our people's lives. These type of characters must be immediately arrested, disarmed. There's already laws for carrying weapons, for guns, etc. But no one is enforcing these laws. You will see images of policemen and soldiers right there whilst these terrorists are moving around carrying these weapons. They're actually raising illegal armies. And we are allowing this. We are entertaining this. This is frightening that we allow this to happen. And what's happening up in Enga is starting to cascade into all the other provinces. Even in my province, they have arms everywhere. We need a serious review of our disciplinary forces, our national security apparatus, our intelligence systems, which are broken down. quite significantly. I'll give you a point. In 1975, we had 150 NIO officers. Do you know how many NIO officers we have today? Less than 30. Less than 30. In 1975, our population was just less than 3 million. Today, our population is more than 12 million. When an economy expands and its population grows, its risks and opportunities also grow, its intelligence services must also expand. It's a given. We've done the exact opposite. We've allowed our intelligence systems to deteriorate. We do not have enough intelligence practitioners out there. They are supposed to be out there collecting information and data. Then there must be a very effective information and data processing system in place to process the data, to bring out actionable intelligence that can then be given to decision makers so they can make informed decisions. That's not happening. We are going backwards in this regards. Or actually not backwards, because backwards we were fine. We're deviated into some dark, obscure place. That's what needs to happen. Prime Minister, before I wrap up, I believe that you need to make a statement to this country saying what we are going to do about this and do it immediately. You need to make some decisions as to how this is going to be addressed seriously by this government. What's going to happen now? What will happen to those perpetrators, those murderers, those gun lords? In fact, it was reported today in an intelligence report that 500,000 kina in cash was apprehended at the airport. That money was destined for purchasing firearms here. Bullets were also apprehended. A particular businessman who was on his way flying out was also supposed to be arrested, but they let him go. This is all related to the incidents occurring in Enga. This is a fact. We have to seriously do something about this. All these great plans we have about economic progress are not going to happen. Or if they do happen, they will be happening whilst blood is being shed, our people's blood, especially the lives of innocent people. They are usually the victims, the greatest victims in this.
Member for Oro.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker, for giving me time to speak. Thank you.
I think from the chair, I will allow only one speaker, the last speaker, Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker, members of the House. The conversations today are very, very important in light of the lawlessness that we face in our country. And I sit here and listen to everything said. A lot of very, very good discussions, very good suggestions, things that we all as leaders need to work together to improve the lawlessness in our country. It is a fundamental right that our people live in a good, law-abiding society. It is a fundamental right, and we owe it to them. But these things didn't happen yesterday. They happened over time. They deteriorated, Mr. Assistant Speaker, over time. We are now faced with the stark realities that we need to do something, and do something very fast to fix all of this. We cannot keep on talking about it, Mr. Assistant Speaker. It is serious, and on both sides of the House, I sit and I listen. All of us have to work together to fix this for the benefit of our children, for our people, and for our country. Mr. Assistant Speaker, as I said, this thing didn't happen yesterday. But we cannot keep on complaining. We need to find some avenues as leaders and ensure that we move forward to address this and address it quickly. As government, we sit here not only in Enga, it's happening everywhere, all over our country. It's happening everywhere. And when we see the violence in Enga, and the recent one on Sunday of 50 people being murdered, and preliminary police reports, intelligence reports say the 50 people that were deceased were actually hired gunmen going into a battlefield and got ambushed. They were not innocent spectators. The problems that are there are huge. when people ask us, what has government done about illegal guns? People say ban guns. What guns do we ban? Illegal guns are banned. This parliament banned illegal guns. We already banned them. We made the law ready. Someone with an illegal gun, this parliament has made a law that they be imprisoned for a lifetime imprisonment. Has one been arrested? Not yet. We have done our jobs as legislators. We have done that already. We now need our law enforcement arms to arrest people in possession of high-powered weapons and send them behind bars and convict them as what the law says. We should also ask ourselves, where does the ammunition come from? Where does the weapons come from, Mr. Assistant Speaker? And as pointed out by many members of Parliament sitting here, many of the weapons I hear from the good member for Ligap. Many of these weapons are purchased by facilitators of these tribal fights and so-called mercenary warfare. Most of the weapons come from illegal fishing boats, illegal sites outside, cross-border, but a lot of them come from our own internal armories. A lot of them come from our own internal armies. And these things need to be put a stop to. And we need to have people arrested. What has government done? We as government have already passed a law. We have already passed a law. It is now up to the law enforcement bodies to arrest them. We as government, as the good governor for Ora pointed out, need to improve on our intelligence services. What has government done? In the last 6 months, government has interacted with the larger intelligence community to enhance the capabilities of our internal NIO, National Intelligence Organization, and we are currently negotiating, sitting with them. NIO officers are now currently being trained and upskilled in analysis so that they can analyze a lot of the crime trend happening. That is what government has started and is beginning to do. With the intelligence community, not just with the NIO, but the police intelligence need to be upskilled also. And yes, we have failed in the last 10, 15 years, like the good member for Vanimo Green has pointed out. And we cannot just point fingers. We are now working on it to improve that. And I can assure you, the good member for Vanimo Green, that our intelligence apparatus is now being upgraded and upskilled, and we are looking at right now with bilateral partners from various defense treaties that we have signed with. With the Australians, we have asked them for help, and the Prime Minister signed an assistance treaty package for internal security to the tune of $500 million kina, on top of what we have already given as government, 200 million kina last year, 200 million kina this year, and now $500 million from the Australian defense treaty that we have signed with them. That will go towards majority of it to rebuild our capacity in the police force, to adjust for training, and to improve more training for our people in Papua New Guinea. Government has now we have 500 policemen undergoing training. Another 500 will be recruited this year again, going in for training. The Australian component will rebuild the Bomana Police College to the tune of $47 million to increase capacity, to build up capacity to 1,000 per annum to reach our target of 10,000 people by the year 2027. That is what we, as a responsible government, is trying to achieve. We hear talk about the hire cars. I am one of those who is actually not happy with the hire car development that has been happening in our country. But we don't just sit idle, Mr. Assistant Speaker. Let me assure Parliament, last week the police distributed 130 brand new hire cars throughout all stations, some of the major stations in Papua New Guinea, and another 130 brand new cars that you see in the papers, and another 130 is now on its way from Japan to be distributed towards all other police stations. We will be purchasing up to nearly 800 police cars to distribute to all our police stations in Papua New Guinea. That is on top of what the police recruitment is being done. Communications capability is being looked at. We also have 200 men being selected in the police force to start up in a light unit. They have already been selected. We have put money aside towards this for the 200 men, and those 200 men will be trained in high-capacity situations to counter acts of terrorism, counter acts of heavy gun culture, and be able to combat with specialist skills to fight this trend that is involved with weapons in our country and to apprehend them. Because some of the skill set training, as a good member for Vanimo Green would rightfully know, needs a really, really good set of skills of people to be able to counter these sort of things. So intelligence capability is being built up, equipment is being built up, training is being built up, manpower is being built up. All we need now is the Anti-Terrorism Act to be brought in so that we can give the teeth to our policemen to be able to do what they're trained to do, to be able to go in there and apprehend people at no risk to themselves so that they cannot be prosecuted unjustly. They can be able to do it without fear or favor to do these things. But that is not only all we have to do. We need to rebuild on the discipline and command of our respective disciplined organizations. There is a big lacking in that capacity, in the middle management, in our NCO cadre, in our junior officer cadre. But the government, we have now recruited through the police force another 70 to 80 police officers, direct entry from universities to be trained 2 years at Bomana and another year to be trained overseas to appreciate some of the skills and bring them into the middle management. Whilst we are waiting for that, we have, for the interim period, the good police minister has already advertised through the police commissioner, advertised for 50 expatriate Commonwealth police officers to come and work as contract officers with our police force, under the command of our police force, to try to break in that cycle and ensure that they reinstill discipline, they reinstill performance, and instill good values back into our police force that has been lacking for the last 10 to 15 years. So those are some of the objectives that government has been doing and is trying to do to ensure that we move into that field. With the Australian package, we are also getting equipment, airlift capability support in terms of helicopter support to help us assist in combating some of these crimes that are being perpetrated in our country. And it's not just we talk about Enga today. It is the whole country that we need to address. In remote Alatau, in remote Telefomin, in remote Kokopo, in Bougainville, all of these need to be addressed. But the United Nations target for manpower ratio to our police force in our country, right now we need 26,000 policemen to the population of 12 to 14 million people. We currently, Mr. Assistant Speaker, only have 6,000 policemen, 4,000 of them serving on the front lines, 2,000 serving in admin or not being able to work in a frontline capacity. So we need to build up our police manpower up to 26,000 so that we can be able to meet the population ratio for our country. And we need both sides of the house. When it comes to budget time, we need to impress on everyone that we need to put more money into rebuilding our capacity. We need money to buy equipment. We need money to hire these people. We need money to build up our intelligence. And we need good people to run it, properly, highly trained people to run this. We need a defense force to be once again the pride of our nation. We need them properly upskilled. And government has put money towards that. We now have the 2 CASA aircraft that used to be sitting in our hangars for the last 6 to 10 years. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the engines are now on their way from Indonesia to be put in so that those planes, the pride of the PNG Defence Force, can be flying again. We are now putting money into trying to assist our Papua New Guinea Defence Force become the pride it used to be. And that should be the pride that we should all be proud of. As young boys standing there watching the Defence Force and the Police Force come out dressed in their uniforms is what we should regain that pride again. That should be the pride of the next kid standing on the corner of his school too, and bring that pride back. It needs both sides of the house, all of us sitting here. We should not just talk about it. We should not argue about it. You may all get a must walk one time, the tram straight him. The magisterial services that we have talked about, Mr. Assistant Speaker, the Chief Magistrate just recently advised me that they have recruited 28 more magistrates. I think the good Attorney General would have. That is due to having more money put towards it. They used to have only 46 million kina, gentlemen and lady. Now, last year, they had 110 million kina put towards the magisterial services. Because once you have the power of arrest, you prosecute, and then you have to confine them somewhere. The people who actually hear the cases are the lower judiciary, which is our magisterial services, who hear 80% of our cases. Things like tribal fighting, things like drunk and disorderly, things like summary offense, things under the Summary Offences Act. All these things are heard by the lower judiciary, which is the magisterial services. Let us support them a lot more. Let us support the judiciary a lot more. Let us build bigger and better jails that can keep people inside them too. Right now, our jails are filled to capacity, gentlemen. Our jails are filled to capacity. But when we come and sit for budget, let us not argue about the budget costs. Let us ensure that we put the money towards where our mouth is. Ensure that we have support of both sides of the house, and put him money straight, lo halbim, or line blumi, lo fix him this all deteriorating conditions, lo houses blow, discipline forces blumi, lo car blow, lo equipment blow, lo recruitment blow. Organization or something must be fully supported by both sides of the house. So let me assure all esteemed members of Parliament here, yes, we have started working on it. We are rebuilding our intelligence capacity. We are rebuilding the training for them. We are rebuilding our police training. We are rebuilding many facets of our law and order situation. It will not happen tomorrow, but let me assure you that it will happen, and it needs all of us. It needs all of us. Even in our communities back home, in my community back home in Leh, we need to support our village court judges. We need to show presence in a lot of these things. When there is trouble, we need to be there in the midst of our community, taking leadership, taking ownership, making certain the community blue on good, na bayumi run awesome country. It's not only central government that needs to do it. Every single one of us sitting here, including the lower level of leadership down in our LLGs, down in our provincial government areas, down into the LLG levels, to our community levels. We need to rebuild on our education to instill good discipline in our children. That is critical. We need to do that, gentlemen and lady in this house. Wandendisla, I think I've gone out of time, so I will say thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Leader of Government Business.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker. Before I move a motion, on behalf of the people of East New Britain and behalf of the leaders of East New Britain, we pay condolence to the late Honourable Education Minister, the Honourable Jimmy Uguro, and the Parliament will be having a state funeral tomorrow. I remind all members to be present to give our last condolences to our fallen colleague. Thank you for the Parliament, thank you for the opposition and the government. The debates that we had today are really good. I thank the Deputy Prime Minister and the Prime Minister and the Police Minister for taking note. And I hope that going into the future, some of the things that we've talked about today on the floor will be put to action so that we can give our people something back about safety in our country. With that, Mr. Acting Speaker, I move that the discussion be concluded.
Honourable members, the question is that the motion be agreed to. Those who are in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Acting Speaker, I now ask to adjourn Parliament to tomorrow 10 o'clock.
Honourable members, the question is that the question be agreed to. The motion be agreed to. Those who are in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Honorable members, I want to remind all of us that the late Education Minister, the casket will be brought to the lying state here. Just want to remind all of us. Honorable members, I now adjourn the Parliament to tomorrow 10 a.m.